Alright. So if you say Kyorin is switching, then Kyorin, we switched. Amazing Gummy, you're up next. Do you want to take a look at it? Gummy. 10 players remaining. Sweet. Alright, let's take a look. Hit normals. Yo, what the fuck this guy. The penis guy. I'm not the penis guy, alright? Like, if you're referring to the fact that I have a penis, sure, maybe. Alright? But nah, I'm not a penis guy, alright? No, I'm not the penis guy. The duck penis guy. Okay, I will allow duck penis guy. Fine. Okay, I am the duck penis guy. I'm not the penis guy, though. I am not. There is no psychosexual associations. Alright? Why is it all NHN? Some thoughts I had while mapping. The triples look a bit ass while executed better, to be honest. The song's a bit repetitive, but I'm a bit scared to do something else because it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't be consistent. You are correct on that. Like, that's what that's gonna be one of the positive things about this one. Like, Gummy. This is one of the better new maps that I've seen. Like, this is actually really solid. Like, this is pretty solid. Like, there are a lot of issues with it. We'll take a look at it. Your fundamentals are not clean. But holy shit, your structure is there. Like, it's really strange. But, like, imagine in English. You haven't learned the words yet, but you have the grammar. You have a grammar. You're saying something. Like, this is crazy. Like, you're not fully fluent in English yet, but you're saying shit. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed. Kiwi does what? Wait, hold up. What is this clip? I have to see this clip. Kiwi does what?
We guys, we beat the minorities. We are high mapping system.
Can we kill this guy? Can we kill this guy? Fuck this guy. Yo, welcome Puribi, welcome to stream. Welcome Quachi, welcome to stream. Yo. Yeah, fuck this guy. Yo. Nah, that ain't right. Yeah. Don't worry, he's a lesbian mentee and a gay mentee. He's safe. That's not how that works. But fine. That's my mentor. Let's go. Hell yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this one. Because genuinely, there are a lot of really good things with this one that I want to make sure you keep up. Alright? One of the big things with like being a relatively new mapper is you do something, and in your immediate next map, you forget to do the thing again. So I want to first hammer in what you did well, because that's more important. As long as each map you make a new thing is folded into your logic. You are fluent with a new step. You're getting better. Especially as starting out, you're gonna improve so dramatically. Each of your new maps is gonna be amazing, and we're gonna understand why the map's good with this.
There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry with straw, dear Henry with straw.
Now, you can probably take a look at some immediate things. This is structure. We're going to look at structure with this song. And we're going to also take a look at rhetoric with this song. All right? We're going to analyze this like English majors. All right? And when I say English majors, I mean like high school level English. We're not talking about like university levels. All right? Mainly because that's all we need when it comes to mapping. Okay, you guys are talking about penises non-stop. You guys ain't able to say shit. You guys are all talking about penises in my chat. That ain't all right. But let's take a look. Okay, so first of all, the song is a nursery rhyme. Now, this nursery rhyme is actually famous because the joke is it keeps going. The joke is it keeps going. The joke is that Henry is a fucking idiot. Right? There's a hole in Henry's bucket. To which, like, he goes, okay, what shall I mend it with? With straw. The straw's too long. Then cut it. With what shall I cut it? With a knife. The knife is too dull. Then sharpen it. With what shall I sharpen it? With a stone. The stone is too dry. Then wet it. With what shall I wet it? With water. Well, where shall I get it? From the well. What shall I carry it with? With a bucket. But there's a hole in my bucket. That's the joke. That's the joke. Alright? And that's really fucking funny. But what makes this particular rhyming, like nursery rhyme, so great is because it shows off structure, and we can take advantage of that structure to understand mapping. Alright? Yes, this is a mapping tangent. This isn't me going on a tangent. This is a mapping tangent, alright? We're gonna take a look at this song and understand what we can do with the rhetoric. Because this particular song is about repetition, it's not recursive. You see, it's not recursive. It's repetitive. Recursive is different. Recursive means the what it means is what it means. It's repeating by referring to itself. In this case, it's just circular, which is not recursive, but it's repetitious. So, first of all, what do you notice about the sentences? This sentence is the same as this sentence. This sentence is the second one. This is the fourth one. Oh shit. Everyone, repeat after me. ABAC. This is ABAC. This is how a lot of songs are structured. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, a hole. And you can see, just that. That was an ABAC structuring. And that's great. That's great for that reason. Alright? And notice how the structure is just copy-pasted. And because it's copy-pasted over and over and over again, it works. It works. Like, look. With straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry, with straw, dear Henry, with straw. And the idea is it's repeated over and over and over and over and over and over again. And finally, the final chorus. Ah, but there's a hole in my bucket. Notice how there's an actual change there. That's the only change in the entire song.
Dear Henry, cut it. With what shall I cut it, dear?
Like, genuinely, because this is the final line. Arg, but there's a hole in my bucket. There's the variation, and the only variation in the entire song. This is the only variation. And it makes sense. This is the only time one of the verses is repeated. So, we have the only variation. This is it's emphasis. But is it emphasis to just go, arg, but there's a hole in my bucket? If I just read this out of context, this has no emphasis. The only reason why this is cool is because we don't do it everywhere else. And this is going to be the foundation of everything that follows. Alright, let's look at your map now. I can make it more quiet. The song itself has repeating structures. In fact, we can hear it. Alright, in fact, let me delete your map. And let me just really quickly show you how I would begin to break down the song. I'll put a bookmark here. The first section, this sounds distinctly like one of them. Can we get rid of, wait, what? What's NHN? Well, I actually don't know what you guys are talking about. What's NHN? Finish reviewing your map? I did. Yassine, I did. I gave you your feedback. My guy, what are you talking about? Normal hit normal. Oh, I see. I love normal. Okay, fuck you guys. No, normals are great. I fucking... Okay, Yassine, rewatch the stream. I don't know what to tell you, alright? Yassine, I saw the ending. I looked at the ending. I analyzed the ending. It's fine. That's not the part that needs the feedback. I went... Yeah, Yassine, it's like, Yassine, you're actually making me upset. So, sorry. I'm gonna put 30 minutes. That's the amount of time it took for you to go through your map. There you go. Just take that time and watch the stream, please. So let me put a bookmark here. So the first thing you'll notice is that the song actually, if you look at the structure, has very distinct sections at which the song repeats. You can hear it. And then here. In fact, you might be able to guess when the next change is going to happen. You see? You can see it. Look at my cursor. And look, this one's unique. This section is short. This beat is syncopated. So we want to show that off as well. So over here, is it the next one? You see, all these are equal spacing again. You see? And we're gonna get to the end. And that's the end of the song, mainly because it repeats from here. Okay, so, first of all, let's understand what that means. First of all, how long are each one of these? We can see the bookmarks on a timeline. So I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna make it so we just see the downbeats. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 measures in one of these big sections. Let's listen to each one by one. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Looking at this is A, B, C. The first 2 are repeated. And C is the impact, the release. Let's take a look at this section over here. This is also AABC. Is it? And let's take a look at the earlier section. This is also AABC. You see the trend. Now, if all of the song is AABC, what should we be mapping? AABC. And in essence, that's kind of what you managed to capture. And that's part of the vibe that you managed to capture. Because let's take a look at what you did. You see? You did map ABAC. I don't know why the hit sounds are so loud. The hit sounds are loud because all of your hit sounds are 100%. Press F6. That opens up the time. Press F6. Timing points. Press Control A. Audio. Volume. Usually people put it on 70. Yep. In fact, you can copy and paste timing points as well. Because look, I can take this, copy. And delete. It's cool. So, like, this is the reason why I was actually really happy with your map. Your map has grammar to it. The grammar of a map is the same as the grammar of a song. Songs repeat. Songs have a structure to them. You need to see within a large block of song, within one measure, one entire bar. Sorry, like one bar, which is 4 measures, which is 4 beats. That large scale, that is a sentence in your map. That is a paragraph in your map. You need to be able to make a sentence have meaning to it, and that requires understanding how it repeats. And you repeated your map, you see? This is one pattern. Slider into a wiggly stream, into a slow slider. Slider into a wiggly stream, into a slow slider. And then jumps, and then triples, or spaced ones. And you did that here as well. And I'm liking how you have a lot of variety as well. You understand how variety works. A, B, C. Now, what is the least important part of this? Oddly, the least important part is B. B is the least important part. So let's use this notation. AA bracket B, C. B is now going to be the pivot. That is going to be the thing that's going to be variation in all of our sections. And in fact, what you did too. If you just copy and paste the same section over and over again, it's going to be boring. But also, if you vary A too much, then it's not going to feel proper, right? You're like, in a sense, consistency is now gone in your map. It doesn't feel like you understand the song. Part of knowing how to understand a song is knowing what is the most I can change to make it as interesting as possible without affecting the song. And the answer is B. Put all your variation on B. And in fact, that's what we do here. Look. The first B pattern is jumps, just jumps. And the second B variation, look. It's just more triples. In this case, they're smaller though. Unlike the C. And over here, B is also stacked triples. So it's different this time. I'd say the stacked triples this time, it's repetitious. But that was kind of the vibe you're going for. That's what you're trying to do. So if you look at the Bs from each of the section, so the Bs from the 3 sections, they form a B, C, C. You space the triples based on intensity and stop using a 1/2 because it felt too weak. Yes, but subconsciously. So this is one of those strange things. You did that subconsciously, but you accidentally made something really good. By following the vibes. Which is crazy that you're able to do that, even though your fundamentals are quite weak. You are able to follow along with the vibes. And vary the thing that matters most. Or should I say, the thing that matters least. So that it's most capable of varying. Like, that's crazy. Like, well done for that. Does it make sense? Like, am I making any sense here? Like I do recognize I'm trying to speak in the abstract. I'm not trying to pull in mapping terms. I'm not trying to pull in mapping terms because I want to make the foundation, of structure really, really clear. And over here, we can see that as well. So I need bookmarks. Without bookmarks, I can't tell my way. So da 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 da. Yep, good stuff here, by the way. Yep, you do give some variation towards the end, but that's fine. Like, it's a small amount of variation. Da 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 da. Good. And you understood that this is supposed to be the climax. So well done. Some people would have just placed a long slider. Like a massive, massive slider. But that wouldn't be correct. Well done for putting a stream here. C's are usually the most intense part. Also here, oddly, I wish you had like a different variation. I think something like this might work. Actually, no. Let's try this. Like, have it step up a tiny bit. So the previous one, this was the ending of the previous one. And over here, this is one more step up. But yeah, like, I can go on for ages kind of analyzing individual parts, but the idea there is, it's just crazy how, like, you properly managed to, like, capture the, like, energy of the song by understanding the grammar the song operates on. And well done. And even subconsciously, like, you can tell This was the one section where the section cuts short. So you just made a simple build-up into the change, which is great. Like, that's great. Like, that's really nice. And now that we go on that, let's take a look at what is the biggest thing to improve on. Alright, so when it comes to a map, think of it genuinely like saying a sentence. Think of it like being in English. You're trying to communicate something. You're trying to show off your cool idea. Like, think about it like showing off a cool idea in language. I'm showing you cool ideas by telling you cool things. You're trying to do the same thing, but with circles and sliders. And somehow, you made a really cool sentence. You said something, even though you might not have all the words for it. So, let me give you that structure. At the moment, we're going to improve our visuals. Visuals are probably going to be the biggest thing. Your movement's pretty solid, which I'm quite happy with. But at the moment, it's your visuals, and oddly, your visuals affect your movement. And reading as well. But it mainly movement. And the biggest one I can tell you is by doing this. I press Control A. Look at where all of the objects in your map is. It's all in the middle. Now, where can an object actually be placed? An object can actually be placed all the way out here. All the way here. This is on screen. This is still on screen. You've probably played maps that have used this area. Secondly, you can also place an object here. This is on screen. You may go, no, this is off screen. What am I on about? This is very clearly off screen. It isn't. The editor lies to you. The editor is actively lying to you. If I place an object all the way at the corner here. What? It deleted my object? Oh, fuck off. If I place an object all the way down here. It's still on screen, right? Look at it. It's still on screen, even though in the editor is off screen. You can place in circle size 4. So caveat, this only works in circle size 4 and 3. 3 is max. If it's circle size 3, if it's at the very bottom of the screen, this is barely on screen. I know that because I map mainly circle size 3. So I know. The idea is if it's circle size 3 or lower, so smaller than circle size 3, you can literally place the circle on the bottom of the screen. It looks off screen in the editor, but it's still on screen in game. And because of that, like, I can kind of, like, you did not use a huge portion of the playfield. A huge portion of the playfield was not used. Now, why is that so important? Because you may go, wait, that's not that important, right? And the answer is yes, that is not that important. This is more a symptom, usually. This is a symptom of something else. And I want to talk about that something else, because that something else is important. And it is understanding visuals and how visuals fractal down. So, there are 2 scales of visuals that 3 scales of visuals. I think you can handle 3. I'll go for 3. The 3 scales of visuals that I want you to recognize. The first one you do kind of okay already. If you have a pattern, make sure that pattern does not overlap the previous pattern. So, you put this pattern instead of over here, you put this pattern over here. This is good for reading reasons. Like, these patterns are distinct. But try and, if possible, extend it further back. Because I know, by the time you get to this object, this triple is out of sight. Like, but it still takes up the same area. This still overlaps all of the previous stuff. In essence, this area was ignored completely. This area is ignored completely. This area is ignored completely. It felt as if like you're on autopilot, just like circling the same like figure 8. If that makes any sense. And you may go, okay, why is that a problem? That's a problem for 2 separate reasons. The first one is to do with patterns and having entire patterns and visual spacing. So, it first comes down to this. What is visual spacing? I'm going to write this down. Visual spacing. Visual spacing is having objects on the playfield equal distance to one another. So this is similar to distance snap, except it's the visuals. So, this object, this pattern isn't actually perfect. While you didn't overlap the previous pattern, it's too far away. If you have it like this, notice how all 3 of these objects are now equal distance to one another. The tail of 3 here, and 1, this forms a triangle. Whoops. This forms a triangle. Here, here, and here. You see? These 3 circles form a triangle. Essentially, that's what you're trying to go for. And this distance right here needs to be the same distance as everything else. So I'll move 1 back a little bit. And you may go, how about what happens if, you know, I'm trying to make a jump? So from 3 to 1, I obviously want to jump, right? Well, look at the entire pattern. Have it visually spacing like this. You see? So 11 is now visually spaced against 2. Visual spacing is special because it has nothing to do with its actual temporal time. It's only concerned with the silhouette of a pattern. So imagine this is just a regular 2D shape. This is one solid object. This solid object now needs to repel this object at a perfect distance. Alright? Like a stalker with intimacy issues. You want to be close, but not too close. And mistakes usually go both ways. Either new mappers place objects too close together or too far apart. Usually both. Isn't it too early to tell about visual spacing between multiple structures? I don't think so. Like, especially since it's the same concept, it's just multiple scales. First scale, make sure individual objects are equally spaced. Secondly, make sure if you can highlight a whole pattern, it's silhouette. So if you imagine it's silhouette, like essentially Control A and zoom away from it. This is its silhouette. Is it silhouette visually spacing? Is it an equal distance away from other things? And third, this is the hardest thing by far. And in fairness, this will probably take most of your mental power. Like, because making visual spacing is pretty easy. You just highlight an object and go, okay, where should this go? Okay, so this is quite big. So I'm going to put it over here. This is over here, so I'm going to place this over here. Place this over here. And then, ooh, okay, it's S shape. Maybe I'll flip this like this. And there you go. If it's like this, then at least the tail goes a different direction. It takes a different place in the playfield. Now, can you overlap? Yes, you can overlap. But it needs to look pretty, and crucially, the silhouettes must be in different areas. So this silhouette is down here. Yeah, blankets are a pretty good way. And this object, silhouette, is mainly up here. So it's still fine. And look, suddenly, this takes up more of the playfield. And look, if I press Control A, you can see those streams, like, break out of the box that you previously had. Look, the entire bottom left is now covered by the stream we just placed. And it goes over here. So a lot of what I just talked about is something that you can just do. Just select a pattern, shove it to the edge of the screen, and it tends to work. So visual spacing. And, oh no, this pattern right here. But all my previous objects were here. Flip it, place it over here, bottom right. You see? And over here, make a triangle. And another one over here. I can now do this. And by the way, you may go, does every object need to be visually spaced? No, but when visual spacing is big, this is usually a section change. So remember how this is the beginning of a new phrase entirely? You can now separate it. And this is a big part of why I wanted to talk about the poem in the very beginning. Would they not be too small for that big of a jump? No, absolutely not. Mainly because this 1/4 slider acts as a circle. You don't actually play the tail, right? You just click on it. So this is essentially a regular jump. And for the star rating of 5.8, this jump is entirely fine. Now, if you go, wait, but I want stream players to play this, because stream players can't play jumps. Alright, well, that's fine then. Rotate it like this, rotate it like this. How about a bit like this then? And now this is smaller. If you let go of it too early, will it not slider break? It won't. The slider's too short. The slider's too short to break. That's why stream mappers put this in everywhere. The slider's actually too short to break if you let go of it early. So all sliders have a grace period. Essentially, it's to do with the slider ball. Like the slider does follow circle. If the tail is inside of the follow circle, then it counts. And because it's so short, it's automatically hit. Like, you automatically finish it just by clicking the head on time. Unless the BPM is super low. If the BPM is low, then I guess it's different. But the BPM is not that low here. And over here, we're kind of taking a look at the same stuff from previous. So over here, this pattern took up the bottom left. So over here, we want to move over here to the top right. And this jump is now out of the way. You see? Now, to make it even more out of the way, we can grab this and just shove it to the edge. So it touches the edge. And look, all of a sudden, look at how much more of the playfield we're using. We're using here. And that's essentially it. By trying to put objects so that they're not if reasonable, they're not overlapping the previous pattern. So this pattern is here. Then that means all the triples need to be around it. Then that works. Then you're making sure things don't cram together. That will fill out the playfield almost immediately, because you'll need to start placing things on the edges. The next one is also to do with visual spacing. Now, these patterns are all certain distances apart, with the exception of this. Now, why? Now, let's see if we can answer this. Why would this one be allowed to be visually spaced? Why would this one have much larger visual spacing than everything else that came before? Why would this pattern have that? Let's see if you got this. Well done. It is the start of a section. And that's essentially it. In fact, look back to the poem. Look back to the poem that we had earlier, right? Look back to the poem. Where is there a gap? When there's a new section. Even the poem has a gap, right? Look. Even the fucking poem had a gap. It's all the same. Like, when it comes to mapping at all scales, both as a beginner and as an expert, understanding the structure of poems or song lyrics is a hugely important skill, because if you understand that, you understand song structure, because lyrics must follow song structure. So, well, your map must also follow song structure to, be good and effective, so you can learn pretty effectively from poems. And I picked this one because it's so obvious with what it's trying to do, because the joke is structure. So you can learn from this specific. At first, the lyrics are a bit annoying because they don't line it properly with the song, but you can learn plenty of things from this. You can also learn that, like, look, there's a hole in my bucket. Dear Liza, dear Liza. Even though this is an A-B-A-C structure, the B pattern is less important. Why is it less important? Well, it's repeating it. Dear Liza, dear Liza. Not only is it, like, not important information. Dear Liza, dear Liza. Like, you don't need to know her name, strictly, for the song to work. This is the only part that really matters. There's a hole in my bucket. And in fact, it's made as a joke, because literally the entire song is Dear Liza, dear Liza. Like, you don't need to hear this. This is the less important part. But you're contrasting something that is important with something that isn't. Important, not important. Important, not important. A, B, A, B. The ABAC structuring needs to extend to all scales. And you can also make it more obvious that it's less important by repeating it. If something is repeated, it becomes a new white noise. This is the white noise. But you need white on canvas to put any colors on top. Like, this is strange, but, like, having white noise is actually perfect. You want the skill to be able to say nothing. Because by saying nothing, you can put ideas on top of it. There's contrast off of it. In essence, you're trying to, by having this contrast of not important to important, you're proving that that important thing actually matters by setting a contrast. So, hopefully that was remotely useful. Once again, I'll write down the 3 points. One is visual spacing for objects. 2, visually space patterns unless section change. Then space it. And 3, very generally, is appreciate song structure. I don't think you were intentionally thinking about song structure. I think it came down to just immaculate vibe reading. Like, you read the vibe of the song really well. So consciously notice when a song is having structure. That's number 3. That's the most important one. The second most important one is visual spacing. They're not in order for some reason. Visual spacing is also important. That's the fundamental I want you to improve at. And if possible, understand that entire patterns should also be visually spaced. Oh yeah, fun fact, white is the most important color because you can't mix to it in painting. Yeah. There's a lot of like really there's a lot of really interesting stuff when it comes to like the structure stuff, because all the structure is to do with all fractals. All art forms fractal. And you gotta understand how they fractal to really drive home the art. There's all scales of it. So this shit's cool. Okay, how many... Okay, so I have a bit of time. We gotta go quick for the last 3.